Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Elliott Wave analysis. Just very quickly, please make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you want more updates on Bitcoin and altcoins. You guys have been giving so much support and it makes me want to pump out more of these videos, which is why I've been updating a bit more in the past week. Thank you so much. Now, getting right into business, as previously mentioned, we explored the possibility of a wave 4 completing its correction from our last video, and based on that current price action, this appears to be the case due to this impulse off of the lows, and we may now be working for higher levels. In my view, I think Bitcoin has likely established a midterm or medium time frame bottom, and we've analyzed this bearish correction extensively for the past month or so, and it may seem like I was an extreme bear, but I wasn't. I was only calling for a correction, and it's also very important to note that we have to be trading the trend, and much of the correction fell within an acceptable margin of error region and has now largely played out, which made us switch bias to a more bullish perspective now. Now, consistent with this perspective and in the absence of any significant red flags along the way, which we didn't get in the price action, I believe we are now positioned to aim for higher levels with the potential to eventually break all-time highs. Why? Because if we go back to our analysis back in December when we were calling for that larger ABC pullback, we were looking at the previous degrees, more specifically 2 degrees lower, that looked like it had completed this as a 5-way move up as an extension for this wave 3, and also for this primary degree that also was accepted. So if we look at it, we were looking for a deep correction, first of all, just due to the fact on alternation. Now, we've discussed this previously quite a bit, but since our wave 1-2 was sideways, we were also expecting this wave 4 as an expectation to be deep. It doesn't have to play out all the time, but due to the fact that our smaller degrees of this wave 1-2s and 3-4s, they all played out quite nicely in alternation. So we also kind of expected that a lot of people were taking profits within these regions over here and vice versa. We were seeing these 1-2s as a sharp correction and sideways correction for each of the respective 3-4s. So that's why we also kind of first off saw this biggest sign for this largest degree of this wave 3-4 to be a sharp correction against this wave 1-2. And now I think that we have checked off everything and that we might be now working for the final stretch as a 5-way move up to the upside for this wave 5 to complete. So in my opinion, I think we're going to be right around the corner breaking this all-time high. How we do it is going to be up for debate, and there is only 2 scenarios that I'm going to be narrowing it down to make sure that the conviction still lies in that current narrative that I'm seeing. So if we zoom into the shorter time frames, I think that we may be working for a possible wave 2 to finally create some kind of distribution after this impulse off the lows that we got. So how does that work? Well, in my opinion, I think the only way we can count this is a possible 1-2 of the intermediate degree here. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into wave 3. We have a very obscure triangle here just to kind of offset that this maybe could be a wave 4, but I can't really count 5 waves into this move over here. So I'm going to treat this as a range in itself. So maybe if we zoom in, we can see it a little bit better. As you can see here, we had a 3-wave here, we had a 3-wave here, 3-wave here, 3-wave here, 3-wave here, which is an A, B, C, D, E. This wave E is now terminated as the wave 4. Now we can say that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to help remove any of the subjectivity. That brings us into that first wave 1. So in my opinion, I think we may now be working finally for what could be the primary wave 1 of the first degree that could be finally working for a wave 2 correction. This wave 3 is going to be the most profitable wave, like I said, so it should be the strongest. That should eventually break the all-time high, come for a sideways wave 4 or a sharp correction. But since if we're assuming that this is going to be a sideways wave 1-2, we're going to assume that this is wave 4 of a sharp correction. Again, a little bit too early to call for. And this 5th wave should eventually reach that $130,000 to the $150,000 levels, depending on how far it's going to extend. So how would this look on the larger time frame? So if we pull this up, again, we're expecting a larger 5th wave to the upside. And would you look at that? It matches quite nicely for how this could be a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we create a little bit more distribution for this wave 1, 2, that helps us build a little bit more symmetry, just like we have been doing it for these wave 1, 2s as well. And that is why I personally like to see distributions being created no matter what degree size you may be in. And for that wave 1, 2, you always want to have as much distribution as possible within an acceptable time frame as well. So if that's the case, zooming right back in, removing the larger time frames, we can see that this looks like it's working correctively to the downside, correctively to the upside, and this expanded B pocket zone ending in around the 123.6, 138.2%, which is going to be creating a new price extreme against its termination point of wave 1. We're going to create another price extreme against this bottom over here of the origin of wave A, or I mean the termination point of wave A, and that should be the expanded flat idea, or it could be another running flat, which doesn't have to come all the way down to terminate this. this. As long as we stay within an acceptable flat range, that means that this C wave can terminate at any time, depending on if we get supported here or at these levels over here. But more specifically, I would like to see these levels here for creating a little bit longer distribution. That's just me personally. But again, the main point here is that we're looking for higher levels, ladies and gentlemen. The overall general perspective that I've been talking about for the past month or so to the downside is now completely out until we actually break these regions over here. But right now, at this current time and stage, I don't think that this is a larger distribution zone that's part of some kind of corrective wave. I think a lot of the evidence is now kind of off the charts right now. We could be working for a larger move to the downside, but I don't think that's going to be happening. So my conviction lies into the fact that we may be working for higher levels. So are there any alternative scenarios that could be working for this? Well, there is possibility, of course, always, right? So I would say that the best way, in my opinion, is that we could say that this is a 5-wave move going into the first wave 1. And if we're utilizing this move here as a corrective structure and removing this triangle, we could say that this is now the wave 1. But again, we have a problem here. If we're trying to count 5 waves in here, it's very difficult. The wave 3 is going to be the shortest wave. In the Elliott Wave Theory, if you have the shortest wave, it can't be the shortest wave for a wave 3. It has to be at least the second longest, or to create the best look, the longest wave, and we don't have that achieved. But if we're going to work within a very extensive bullish structure and we're going to be working parabolically to the upside, I can accept it, I guess. If we're going to just say that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 working already within that wave 3, this is also another possibility. But again, I like to kind of say that this is the main case here, where we're working in this as the wave 1 that's now complete, and we're trying to figure out how this wave 2 is going to be playing out. Technically, we could be still working in a double zigzag of some sort. Maybe if doesn't breach this previous high, come back down, maybe we can just say that this is a wave C that's already going to be working in play. Absolutely possible. We could be doing it this way. We don't even have to create a new price extreme. This wave 1, 2 still creates that distribution zone as we are still trying to find levels of support. So in my opinion, I think that we're going to be working for higher levels, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing really much to say here or add on to. I think that, as you can see on the shorter time frames that I have counted out, I think that if we put this into the puzzle of how this larger 5th wave is going to be working to the upside, I think that this 5th wave is going to be comprised of 5 waves to the upside, and that is how I'm currently seeing it. The narrative is all fitting together. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is nearing to the end of the bull market, or at least we're going to see some significant pullback eventually after this 5th wave completes. We've been calling the most extensive bullish moves over here. We've been calling extensive corrections over here, and now most of the corrections have been played out, especially with this larger mini degree now complete, and now we're working for this 5-wave move to the upside. Again, this should be a sub-minute degree, of course, but since I work in different degrees within different time frames, it really doesn't matter. Again, this is how I'm seeing it, ladies and gentlemen. I think we're going to be eventually concluding the bull market, of course, subject to change around the $130,000 to the $150,000 levels. Hopefully that was helpful, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Remember, also like the videos. It does make me know that you guys are interested in these videos. And if you guys are interested in getting more updates, periodic updates, that is, the Discord membership, all the links are in the Discord, the description below. The Patreon membership is also available for anyone who wants a lower paywall. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Bye-bye.